Oh, remember this dude? This dude was so funny.
He knows more information than I do.
Not that guy. This dude here.
So I would say that with Trump being anti-constitution, I don't really care, to be quite frankly. Okay. Because in regards...
He's like literally anti-constitution.
In regards to the Constitution, the Constitution is a document that should seek to serve us. And when it fails to seek to serve us, that can be amended. Laws can be changed. And quite frankly, the fact is, we're defending things in this country that shouldn't be defended. The First Amendment should not defend pornography and making children and women be victimized. Making women and children be victimized as a result of that. I think things like blasphemy shouldn't be allowed per the First Amendment. I think that, quite frankly, there are a lot of legal processes that are enabling criminals and bad people to fully enact.
Oh, Sarah, stop, right?
There are a lot of legal processes that are enabling criminals and bad people to fully enact their will in this country.
Quite frankly, where's that Doomer Nat guy? What is he about? Is it? Oh, is it him? Is that him? Looks like him, right? Let me see. Let's see. I think that is him. Okay. Okay.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Mehdi.
What's going on, man? Nice to meet you. All right, so first, before I start, I need to know what you mean by good. I can talk about the economy, I can talk about culture, I can talk about all those things. I need to know what you mean.
All of them. I'm saying immigrants are good for the economy. They're good for culture. They're good for society. Where's the lower wages?
What do you mean, where's the lower wages?
Where are the lower wages?
Yeah, so you can
What's the basis for saying no lower wages?
Sure, so you can look at like the STEM industry. It's been in like a complete and total recession. There's been tons of studies like from the Economic Policy Institute that shows that like companies like Tesla, companies from like Silicon Valley, they engaged in mass firing of workers, around 35,000, but then they hired around 12,000 H-1B visas. And it's kind of just standard economic thinking.
It's not standard economic thinking. The vast majority of economists and economic studies suggest that there is a negligible, if no impact on wages over time.
That's not
from immigrants. In fact, your colleague mentioned earlier, construction, there is actually evidence in construction, yes. But in some industries, in some areas, there is an impact. But overall, no. In fact, a study from the National Bureau of Economic Research found that migrants since 1965 have raised wages and raised innovation.
Who's that by?
National Bureau for Economic Research.
No, hold on. That's where you publish studies. I'm asking
I didn't memorize the names of the authors.
Yeah, I know you didn't, right?
Can you give me the authors you've got?
Yeah, hold on. The study you're talking about is from Giovanni Perry, and what he did is he didn't account for aggregation issues, nor did he...
The vast majority of studies...
Let me speak.
Please.
Yeah, thank you, right? So listen, he didn't account for aggregation issues, right? And when you look at like the spatial approach, which is what all these economists use, you're not accounting for the fact that when immigrants come into an area, natives leave. If you look at an occupational approach where you look at the specific firms that immigration is going into, like Kim, ETAL 2013 did, you find a net negative impact when there's a 10% increase of immigration. You find around a 0.5% decline in wages when it comes to the specific occupations they're going to.
So
all your studies are flawed.
So 0.5%. Weigh that up against what I just mentioned from the Congressional Budget Office, which is a massive boost in GDP per head, which you're not counting for, massive increase in tax revenue, immigrants actually funding the deficits and debts by paying way more in taxes proportionately, including undocumented immigrants. And what's interesting about wages is, I'm in a room full of, I don't know what to call you anymore, conservatives, Republicans, fascists, I don't know. One of you has proudly said that.
Call us correct.
One of us proudly, correct. I'm in a room full of correct people, but do any of you actually care about wages? Because for example,
I actually do,
For example, do you support raising the minimum wage?
Absolutely, and you can't do that when you're bringing all these people coming into
That's not the reason the Republican Party blocks the minimum wage. You think Republican politicians don't vote for an increase in minimum wage because they're worried about immigration.
Did I say I voted Republican? Did I say I voted Republican?
Well, I'm in a show that was called 25 Far-Right Republicans.
That doesn't mean I'm going to support every single Republican candidate.
So you and I, So you and I, let's agree. We both support raising the minimum wage. Yes,
100%.
$7.25 since 2009. It's lost 30% of its value. If you care about wages, we should be raising the minimum wage in this country, not scapegoating migrants who aren't the cause of low wages in the country. You know who's causing low wages? Billionaires, millionaires, and people who won't pay fair wages to their wages, regardless of whether you are an immigrant or a native born American.
I get the monologue, right? Now let me respond.
You had one. You had one with your one study that had a 0.5% impact. Go.
Yeah, and your study sucked that you didn't even know who wrote it, right? So let's get back to the point, right?
Because I don't need to know one study. The majority of studies say that wages are not impacted by migration.
The majority of your studies are flawed. That's what I'm telling you.
My studies. Neither of us are economists. It's the economist studies.
Don't assume who I am.
Are you an economist?
I could be.
But are you?
I could be.
Are you?
I'm not going to tell you.
Are you?
I'm going to major in economics, right?
Are you an economist?
No, not right now.
Okay, so when I said neither is economist, I was correct.
Just don't assume.
To use your
things.
favorite word.
See here, dude, this is nothing of substance. You look at the red flags; they're coming up. Let me get
That's
to the point.
great, but
so
you're
when
not
you
an
talk about
economist.
when you talk about the CBO, one thing you're not accounting for here is that they're assuming an equilibrium, right? Do you know what that means? You shouldn't make these type of assumptions. You said earlier that unemployment.
Do I
was
know
like
what it means? I thought we're not doing assumptions.
Okay, hold on. You mentioned we were like at like 4.2% unemployment. Yeah, that's counting people who have part-time jobs. That's counting
That's how
poverty
it's always
wages.
been counted.
Yeah,
I'm against poverty wages.
you
Can we
won't let
agree
me
again?
Yes, if you go to like the Lookwood Institute, they calculated a way where it's like functional unemployment. Okay, if you account for things like just people who make around $25,000 a year, people who have fallen out of the labor market, people who only
Let me call him. Let's talk to him. You said he changed on some of these opinions.